Hello, welcome to Verbling. Hi there, I'm teacher Oakley, and for the next hour, we're going to continue our little series of classes we've had at this time for the last few days, talking about hypothetical ideas. So hopefully this will give us a chance to use modal auxiliary verbs, perhaps conditional sentences. If this happens, then that might happen, kind of sentence constructions. To talk about imaginary or hypothetical situations. Now, today's topic is not truly entirely hypothetical. We're going to talk about hydrogen fuel, which already exists. It's not a hypothetical idea. It's an actual thing. More of the hypothetical part is being able to produce hydrogen fuel in such a way that it makes it actually eco-friendly, and the fact is that in order for hydrogen to be used as fuel, it has to be processed first. It has to be more or less, basically, it has to be extracted, which takes energy, and then it can be used as a fuel to burn energy. But the problem is the first step requires as much or more energy than the energy you get from the hydrogen. Is the issue with hydrogen fuel. What we're going to talk about is hypothetically, what if we figure that out, or there really are ways to figure that out? Is it? Well, we're going to be sharing a little opinion as well. What is the feasibility of trying to get around that little problem of conservation of energy, and also, in addition, we'll talk about that hypothetically, and what if we can get around it? What if it is possible? You know, there's a lot of hydrogen locked up in water, so if we can beat that problem, there's a lot of possibilities, obviously. Hello, Ken.
Yes, hello. How are you?
Hi, Ken. I'm
Yes.
doing okay. How are you today?
Yeah, it's hot, but I'm fine.
It's
I,
hot.
yeah, finally, summer has come.
Yeah. Okay. Summer comes late in Japan.
Yeah, this year it's late. Yeah, usually,
Really?
yeah, early July was very hot. Is very hot, but this rainy season it was very comfortable. It rainy, but temperature it was not so hot. But
Hmm.
the rainy season was over and summer heat comes.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's strange because here in the Philippines, where I currently live, it's the opposite. Summer season comes and then we have rainy season.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We're in rainy season now. Are we
But
ever? Yeah.
kind of the summer heat caused a lot of shower. Yeah.
Yeah, here, well, it's weird that what they call summer season here is like March, April, May into
Mm.
June, and there's no rain. Very seldom does it rain. It's just hot. You don't see any clouds. There's no wind. It's
Oh,
just hot.
wow. Wow.
So it doesn't really cause rain. Yeah, but now it's rainy season. I don't know. Last 5 days I have not seen the sun. It's cloud
Oh,
completely
I see.
solid, socked in. We say in English, it's completely socked in. You don't see any blue sky at all. Haven't seen it
Mhm.
for 5 days. Raining on and off constantly. Very humid.
Yeah.
So humid. I was joking with students yesterday. Pretty soon, you guys are going to see me here on Verbling wearing like goggles and a scuba mask and with a tank behind my back. Hello, students.
Yeah, from in the ocean. You
Yeah,
broadcasted at the
exactly.
beach in the past, so
Yeah,
this time.
I have. I
Yeah.
I have done verbling classes while I was at the beach. I have to
Mm.
do one under the water, an
Yeah.
underwater verbling class.
Yeah.
That will be an experience. Okay, let me welcome some others. Hello, Isaac. How are you?
Hi, good
Hi,
morning, Oakley. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing today?
Well, babbling. Glad later I go to work
Ah,
and finish my week.
finish your week. Oh, Friday. Okay. Well, I hope you have a great day. But
Thank you.
doing a little English class before work. Very good.
hmm
Okay. All right. Also, hello, Heidi. How are you? Hello, Heidi.
Hello, nice to see you again. I muted. Intended to open, but instead I muted.
It's okay. Well, welcome to class and hello.
Thank you very much.
And also, hello to Shafar. Hi, Shafar.
Hi,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing
Okay, glad to
yes.
hear it. Okay, we have kind of a tricky topic today to discuss. Um, I don't know. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe not. This week at this time, we've been talking about hypothetical ideas and discussing consequences of these ideas. That yesterday we talked about teleportation, for example. Today's discussion is going to center around hydrogen fuel. So, not exactly hypothetical. I mean, this exists,
Yeah, I
obviously.
think so. Yeah,
Right.
truth already declared.
Yeah, it does exist. But the kind of hypothetical part about hydrogen fuel is that in order to make hydrogen fuel, they have to extract the hydrogen and make it in the form of a gas, uh, or it's possible to have a hydrogen solid. It's considered a non-metal, but anyway, they need to make it a gas, which means it takes energy to turn the hydrogen into a gas, which can then be used um, as an as a form of fuel. A very a little bit goes a long way, as we say in English. Uh, it's yeah, more economical. I mean, as far as actual volume, it's much more economical than fossil fuels. But in any case, that's the problem. So really, the hypothetical part about hydrogen fuel is how to make hydrogen fuel without, of course, using energy from fossil fuels or whatever that cause emissions to make hydrogen fuel. And then once hydrogen fuel is burned, it's doesn't have emissions. It doesn't pollute. Doesn't add carbon, carbon dioxide, and methane and things like that.
I think that think it's about to the hydrogen car. New
Ah, okay. Hello, whoever just came in and left. Come back. Hydrogen cars. Yes, in fact, in Japan, they're doing a lot of research on hydrogen cars. They're actually
yeah, no
putting them
engine,
on the market, right?
no engine, and now hybrid car uses battery, right? But hydrogen car's case, battery is much smaller than Prius or some other cars.
Hmm. Yeah, they talk about fuel cells. Are there, Heidi, are there hydrogen stations
Yeah,
for
I heard
cars?
they are constructing hydrogen station because next year they will start selling.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I've read things about that. Um,
And some American teacher said he said he is lucky because California is constructing a hydrogen station.
Yeah, they are. In fact, they had a government mandate to do so.
Mhm.
They actually passed laws about it in California. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But California pretty much is the only place. Meaning, if you have a hydrogen car in California, you're a prisoner of California. Kind of. Not really. But, okay. Again, the problem being that, welcome to the Hotel California.
You have to come back. You can check out, but you have to come back.
But yeah, you can always come here, but you can never leave. Yeah, sure. Right. Okay. Thank you, Ken, for understanding my reference to a famous Eagles song. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so hydrogen cars exist. They're not really prevalent. I don't know. Actually, let me. Isaac, where
Yeah.
you live, are there hydrogen cars? Do they
No,
hydrogen fuel cars? Not at all.
no. I think uh, these technologies will appear in my country more years until countries like Japan or the States starts to using it.
Okay. Here's a useful English phrase for you. Further down the road, meaning sometime, not a specific time in the future, but sometime in the future. So, yeah, sometime further down the road they will appear. Okay. All right. Do you know very much about hydrogen fuel and the whole this
Well, I know and I heard about it, but on the internet, YouTube, documentaries,
mhm. Okay.
something like that.
Okay. So,
Mm.
like in the United States, there's some public debate, shall I say, about obviously because the government's getting involved. So, of course, there's public debate about use of hydrogen fuels and the pros and the cons.
Yeah, because the states are oil producers too,
True.
but
True.
it
Uh,
affects.
right. And
Mm.
actually, okay, that brings me to a point. Doing a little research for the class, America already produces quite a lot of hydrogen fuel, but they produce it as a sort of a side process of of making fossil fuels. It's sort of a side process to they extract the hydrogen gas as a side process to refining. There's the word, refining and yeah, making consumer ready other fossil fuels, gas, oil, whatever. Now, so there's quite a bit being produced, but hydrogen fuel is starting to be used for cars, yes, and normal everyday consumption, but it's used largely for things like making fertilizer and industrial use. Okay,
Mm.
there, just to say it very basically. It's not used by regular people, but it's already in the economic system, but mostly being used by industry.
Mm. But
And of course, sorry.
I saw a documentary. Honda Motor Cars is
Uh-huh.
the company
Honda.
who was investigating and trying to apply strict, no, this technology, right?
Yeah, I believe I at least read skimmed through an article about that. Yeah, I saw that
I,
too.
I think
Hmm.
Honda was the only company
I think
versing in,
more.
in developing that
Well,
develop.
I think other companies are in various stages of research and development, R&D. Um, they have other other automobile companies must be researching it at least. It would only be prudent to do so. Hello, Araceli, outside the class. Why don't you join us? Hi out there. Okay. Let me talk to Shafar for a minute. Shafar?
Yes, teacher.
Hi. Anybody over there in Indonesia have a hydrogen car?
Actually, nothing. Teacher. The people knowing about hydrogen fuel in these days. Yeah, I just
Okay.
even know about this fuel.
What's that? I'm sorry? The
I,
last part?
I just know this hydrogen fuel. It's kind of unusual for me.
Okay, now you're saying I just know this hydrogen fuel.
Yes.
I don't understand your meaning. I am the only person in Indonesia who knows this fuel, or do you mean I just learned about hydrogen fuel?
Yeah,
Or,
I just
okay, well, there you go. I just learned about hydrogen fuel. Okay, do you know much about it?
no.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's make up things to trick Shafar about hydrogen fuel. Okay, well, okay, Shafar, you get hydrogen fuel from elephant tusks. No,
No,
I'm just kidding.
from water.
That's crazy.
Hydrogen is H, chemical symbol is H.
H, yes, it is.
H2O is water.
That's right.
So it came from water. Then they burn in the car. They burn H2. It connect to O2 oxygen in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Then it became H2O again. It came from water. Then it returned to water.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is true. The most plentiful source of hydrogen on Earth is obviously water. That is correct. Hydrogen in the air is, first of all, in the periodic table, it's number one. So it's super light. It's hard to get hydrogen in the air without it being combined with other whatever chemicals. So water is the easiest place to find it. It is also hydrogen is also found in methane gases in many other kinds of solid things. I mean, it's the most plentiful element in the universe, so it's in everything. But not everything, but it's in many solid things as well. Yes, water is clearly the most plentiful thing it's in. As I said earlier, though, it's also in oil and gas, so they extract it as part of their process. So in America, that's largely where it's coming from, which is kind of what I want to talk about, because there are other ways. The problem is extracting hydrogen into a gas, so then it can be used as fuel. The problem is the extraction takes energy, so it takes energy to make the fuel. It's not like digging up energy, oil and gas. So that's the problem. You're not really gaining anything because it takes energy to make the fuel, which then produces energy. So that's the problem with hydrogen fuel. How could we solve that problem? Theory time. First of all, welcome, Gunay.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, my brain's just not clicking. Where do you live again, Gunay?
I live in Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. Okay. You see any hydrogen cars there?
No.
Not yet.
Our country use a lot of petrol. Our country produce a lot of petroleum. That's why it's not ideal.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Do you know anything about hydrogen fuel? Is it anything that people in your
Yeah,
country talk about at all?
a little. That it's very difficult to produce hydrogen energy, and it costs a lot. And it's a little dangerous to use its energy in cars because it can it's more flammable, and you just people just should to invent the in car where the oil or petroleum is petroleum keeps, yes. For hydrolium, it must be more safety. Its container has to be twice times more safety. Or yes, and yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes some ways of producing hydrogen is sometimes not ecological because it can be produced a lot of greenhouse gases.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. You've given us a lot to talk about and made some extremely good points. Okay. Very good. That's exactly correct. Very good. A little English feedback. Flammable. I know the way the word looks. It looks like flame, fire, flame. Looks like it should be flame-able, but it's not. It's flammable. It's an flammable. And we don't say twice times as volatile might be a good, if I can introduce an English word. It is a very volatile fuel, meaning it's flammable and it's easy to explode. Okay, it's 2 times more volatile or 2 times more flammable. 2 times,
Okay.
not twice times. Okay, right. 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, not twice times, triple times, quadruple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4. Okay. Excellent points. All right. Very good points. The problems, and that's what I wanted to talk about. The problems with hydrogen fuel. It is extremely flammable. It's dangerous to handle. And Gonay was very much correct. Storage has to be exceptionally good. It has to be strong. Also, it's stored under pressure often. So obviously anything you store under pressure clearly needs a stronger tank. Yes, absolutely true. Also, her other point that ways to manufacture or really extract and manufacture the hydrogen fuel often produce more greenhouse gases than they're actually saving later on by using hydrogen fuel. So, catch-22 there. Which, by the way, is called conservation of energy. You can't, you can't gain energy by creating energy. It's not really possible. However, are there alternatives? Ken, you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Ken.
Yes, hello.
Okay, how could we get around the problem of the fact that we produce hydrogen fuel, but it takes energy? We have to somehow get energy from something in order to make hydrogen fuel, which we can then use the energy in hydrogen fuel to whatever, drive a car, shoot a rocket ship to the moon, whatever. Is there any way to get around that problem?
Get around means solve.
Okay. Get around a problem. Here's some very useful English, I hope. You get around a problem, you sort of avoid the problem. It's not really solving a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that it takes energy to extract hydrogen and turn it into a gas,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really solve that problem because it's like a fact of life. I mean, it's a scientific fact.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change that, so you can't solve the problem. What you can do is get around the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is a very often used English phrase, by the way, for a problem, especially a problem that has to do with fundamental physics. You can't change it. You can't change gravity. Gravity exists. You can't change time. So these problems that you have with these things, you don't solve the problem. You get around the problem. All right. So any ideas? How do we get around the problem of producing hydrogen fuel, but without it takes energy? So we're going to need energy, but we don't want to create even more greenhouse gases,
Mm-hmm.
burn up more gas and oil and coal.
Mm-hmm.
But now there are many fuel cars. They spread around a lot of green emission gas. So
They do.
compare that, only factory uses energy and they emit emission gas. But still, only factory, they can save that.
Yeah, but according to what I've read, and all I know is what I read. I'm not a scientist. I haven't done any experiments myself. But according to what I've read, in order to produce the hydrogen fuel that would, for example, take you 100 kilometers, it takes more fossil fuel to make the hydrogen fuel, which they're going to have to still burn. Even it's still emissions if it's in a factory or in your car. It's still producing the emissions one way or the other. So it takes more. It produces more emissions than if you just use the fossil fuel to go 100 kilometers.
No. They use battery.
No, okay, you mean a hybrid hydrogen fuel and batteries, like that? Oh, okay. So they've gotten, are you saying they've...
use carbon. If they don't use carbon,
Right.
or no green gas emission.
That is true. The end user has no greenhouse emissions. That's absolutely true, but that's the end user. I myself, I have an electric motor scooter. There's no emissions. However, I can't kid myself. It costs, emissions are produced when they produce electricity, which I use to charge my bike. When they made the plastic and metal parts, they probably did it using energy, which used fossil fuels. The battery, the lithium battery that is in there, definitely not only did it take a factory which used energy, plus lithium is it took energy. It's hard to make batteries. It takes a lot of energy to make a battery to begin with. So that the factories that make the cars are using energy. They're not using they're not using hydrogen fuel. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. So how do we solve that? I don't know. Better batteries. If the hydrogen fuel are using hybrid hydrogen fuel and batteries, perhaps
No, scientists
it could get...
are thinking about the hydrogen system for energy plantation instead of nuclear or other.
Right. To produce electricity.
Yeah.
Right. But again, they're going to have to get the hydrogen fuel somewhere. It's not free fuel. It's not like oil we can get out of the ground, and it's not like we can just burn water. It doesn't work like that.
But still they can limit the usage of fossil fuel.
No, they can't. Because it takes as much fossil fuel to make the hydrogen fuel as the fossil fuel if you never had hydrogen fuel. That's the problem.
Japan is burning fossil fuel. to make electricity.
Right.
It's much better than that.
Okay, you're not getting it. You're not getting the idea. It takes a lot of energy to make hydrogen fuel. Here's my question to the class. What are your suggestions? How do we make the hydrogen gas, which is makes the hydrogen fuel to begin with, without using fossil fuel? That's exactly my question.
I found one a thesis on the internet.
Yeah.
This thesis saying about several techniques to reduce CO. Actually, not to reduce. Actually, it separates CO2 inside the earth, inside the ground, under the ground, or it melt into the liquid or something. Yeah, I found two. Yeah, but now researchers thinking.
Well, Dr. Ken, could you explain that?
It's a kind of thesis, very kind of difficult to explain in English. One technique is, they trying to they're thinking about, that they have to separate the CO2 into the underground.
Underground.
Yeah. And another technique probably
So,
they
okay,
try,
wait.
yeah, melting. Yeah.
The idea is then no emissions, no carbon in the air, greenhouse gas.
Yeah, kind of not in the air, but in the underground.
But
In the,
underground.
yeah, that's what
Would that work?
I don't know. It's just one thesis, so that's the one idea.
Would that
But
even work? Or, I mean, if you produce a gas underground, wouldn't the gas eventually escape into the atmosphere?
yeah, nobody, yeah, not sure about
Nobody
that.
knows.
Yeah. Like the
Just,
current nuclear waste just put underground in
I'm
Finland,
just,
but nobody's sure whether it
nobody's
will
sure.
stay forever, yeah, or not. Yeah.
Well,
Same
I mean,
problem.
there's a lot of, geothermal activity produces a lot of methane gas, for example, and it stays underground for a long time, but eventually
Kind of temporary
it
solution.
escapes. Temporary solution. Okay. Well, that's all humans are really interested in anyway. Okay. Maybe they could do it underwater and release carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide into the water as a carbon sink, as like a direct carbon sink. I don't know. See, I'm doing what I want you guys to think about how you could do that. How can you? Okay, thanks, Ken. That was great. All right, ideas. That gave me another idea. Why, if you're going to do it underground, why not do it in the ocean? I don't know. Would that work? Does anybody know? I mean, I'm not a scientist. I just thought of that. Maybe I solve the world's problems. Okay, Isaac. All right, Isaac, you've made a couple points here in the Verbling chat box. All right, and valid points, I think. The infrastructure is very small. You bring up alternative energies. Isaac, are alternative energies, are there alternative energy production? Is
Nowadays.
there alternative energy production in your country? Do you have anything? Wind
I
power,
think solar energy is the most,
solar? Uh-huh.
because we are a sunny country, because but we don't uh, uh, how is the word, uh, like make profit of our sun in the
Uh,
amount that we could.
oh, okay. You're not,
We could have mm,
okay.
more uh, plants of solar energy in our country,
All
but
right.
are some laws and for the government to cut the inversions in this area.
Okay. So the government, the country doesn't take advantage of, is a way to say that in English.
Yeah, it's like the government tried to protect the electricals.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Germany, uh, for example, I think the invest in solar energy of Germany was in 2012 the same amount that Spain had Spain spent
Hmm.
in the same technology in 1 year only, and Germany sunny. I don't think so.
I don't either.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, good point. All right, so you're saying the government doesn't take enough advantage of a renewable, by the way. Solar is renewable.
They don't
Uh,
put facilities. The
yeah,
people, the companies, or their sales. Hmm.
okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. All right. No, no wind farms, by the way.
Yeah, few.
A
Yeah,
few.
yeah. There are a wind plant near where I live. I
Hmm.
think 40, 50 kilometers. I can see it from my home, but it could be more popular, like solar
Hmm.
energy. It's like the government puts walls or
Uh,
breaks.
very good. Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay,
They
that's good.
think in
Good English.
terms of oil, it's the same. And it would be interest for Spain because we don't produce oil. We buy all
Yeah.
the oil that we consume.
Really?
But mhm,
Yeah.
money is in the middle.
Hmm. Okay. So the government. Okay, the government and do you think the government and oil companies are in cahoots? Are they
Wow. Yeah.
conspiring? Oh,
No,
here's a
but they are the most mm, collaborators to
what's
the
that?
government. These companies, the most important companies of the country, like electricals, oil,
Uh-huh.
they collaborate. It's like
Collaborate.
collaborate with
Very good.
government
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
in one way or another, and the government protect them.
Right. Yep, I got you by making it more difficult to have a wind farm. By the way, many windmills making electricity is called a wind farm, at least for
Yeah.
Americans. Yeah.
For example, Spain is has been investigating in a new energy like wind farms, but underwater.
Ah. Okay.
But
Uh,
now
okay. Cool.
appears a new rule to stop the advance of the technology.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's no good. Yeah, that's a very interesting energy source. The tides, high tide, low tide, the movement of the oceans. Obviously, a lot of water weighs a lot and it moves back and forth, and obviously produces a lot of energy. Tidal energy, yeah. I am kind of amazed that nobody's really done anything with that idea. Or maybe they have and I don't know about it. Does anybody know? Open question for the class. Does anybody know about companies or countries doing research or even developing energy production from the tides, tidal energy, the movement of the oceans?
I've
Japan
heard of
is
that.
studying about that tidal energy.
Wait a second. Okay, Heidi.
Yeah,
First?
Japan has been trying
Yeah.
experimenting the tidal energy. We
Hmm.
use a lot of energy, a natural resource, a
Yeah.
tide, wave, and even thermal energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any working producers of energy using tidal
No,
energy?
not
Not
yet.
yet.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Just curious, but they are working on it. Okay.
Not
Somebody
so
else?
effective.
Someone else had a comment?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, wind energy, tidal energy, and thermal energy. And yeah, and I've heard one type of windmill called, how can I say, wind lanes, and it's on the ocean. It floats, so it
Oh.
doesn't require so huge kind of mega equipment or facility. Just float on the ocean, and they produce electricity by mills. And since it is called land, that mill focus on the power of the wind more effectively.
Mm-hmm. We all know it's always windy at the ocean.
But it's still the experimental level, not in the, yeah.
Well, there you go. A combination wind farm and
Yeah,
tidal energy
yeah.
plant. Brilliant idea. Okay. Very interesting. Thanks, Ken. Okay. Thanks for the links, Heidi and Ken. Thank you very much. Hello, Araceli. How are you? Are you really here? Did you make it? Araceli? Yes, and more. Isaac. Geothermal, we haven't even talked about, which of course is an enormous amount of heat and energy locked up in the Earth's core, obviously. Shafar, you've been awfully quiet.
Yes, because I don't know what's hydro. I don't how can this occur or physical uh, using hydrogen for his gas or something like that.
Well, actually, countries have been using hydrogen fuel for spaceships for a long time now, since the 60s.
Uh,
Because it's highly, as Gunai pointed out, it's highly flammable. It produces a lot of energy. It burns really hot. So just like, gas burns, and that's really how it produces energy in your car. Same idea. It's not that far off. You burn it, and it produces energy, basically. But Shafar, besides the hydrogen fuel, I'm curious, in Indonesia, do many people use alternate energy forms? Solar power or windmills, wind farms?
yeah, they're using gasoline for their car and about wind farm. What's the wind farm? Is that using wind for burning
Using wind to produce electricity,
the
usually.
yes. Yes, they using wind farms in Indonesia. Uh, and of course they use solar for trucks like that. and fossil fuels. Yeah.
Okay. They use solar for what?
Truck.
Trucks?
Yes.
Really? Solar powered
Don't know.
truck?
I don't know.
Truck. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Hmm. Okay. All right. Interesting. Does actually another question for you, Shafar? Does Indonesia produce oil?
Oil. Yes.
Oil, natural gas.
Yeah. They had, of course, in Kalimantan Islands. They had many fields in underground of Kalimantan. Uh, yes, in uh, near the Malaysia Islands, and they have
Okay.
a lot of oils in out there.
Oil. You can't say
Yeah,
oils. Well, okay.
oil.
You can say oils to mean different types of oil, as in as in like okay, cooking oils. There are many types of cooking oils, or there are many cooking oils. Sure, there's sunflower oil, olive oil, corn oil. Okay, so you can use oils, but when you're talking about petroleum products, oil is oil. It's uncountable. So oil. So there's a lot of oil. Okay. All right. Uh, okay. Very good. Okay. Good eye. You seem quite knowledgeable about this stuff. Question. Getting back to hydrogen fuel, kind of. Anyway. Everything you said about taking a lot of energy, I get it. Yes, it does, and it doesn't really save anything unless they figure out alternate ways to do it. Why doesn't anybody make hydrogen fuel by using wind power, solar power, wave power, geothermal power?
Well, as I understand, that is alternative energy.
Yeah.
That is, you can call it eco energy. And for example, in my country, the government not interested now in it because, for example, there are my country, for example, all oil produces oil, and we export oil, and the industry of my country gained a lot of it, and it developed on the oil industry. And I think there are a lot of countries which connected with oil industry. The economy developed on oil and petroleum. That's why this country is not interested in alternative energy, and it's impossible to say about increase widely using of eco energy. I
Okay.
think that.
Does anybody in your government realize the fact that in 20 years they're going to run out of oil, and if their entire economy depends on oil, they're not going to have an economy, and everyone's going to starve and die? Do they realize that?
Yes, and they want to do like in some Arabic countries. Now they develop touristic industry, and
that's a start.
that's
Okay. All right. Yeah, I am Azerbaijan, and there are plenty of Middle Eastern countries and Russia. These
yes.
countries got to wake up. Oil is going to run out in like one person's lifetime. Oil, there won't be any oil.
Yeah.
Hello.
And yes, and it's interesting because, for example, in our country, we can use widely alternative energy. For example, white territories, areas are windy. and we have sea and a lot of rivers to use water energy. And most parts of my country is sunny. We can use solar energy. Yeah, it's curious. We
Yeah.
don't use it.
Yeah, okay. By the way, when we energy plants that use the motion of rivers, those are called hydroelectric plants. Not to be
Yeah.
confused with hydrogen fuel. Hydroelectric plant uses a river, dam. Dam's a river. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. It's amazing to me how people, governments especially, love to tell us we need to save. You need to be responsible, buy insurance, look ahead. All citizens should look toward their future, but governments themselves seem to be the least concerned with the future. They are less concerned with the future than an earthworm. You know, right now only makes me crazy. Really. Anyway.
Money.
Money now. Forget about the fact we're all going to starve to death in 10 years. Money now. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. True enough. Would you, do you think, Gunai, that you would ever have yourself, take it upon yourself to build a windmill or put solar panels on your roof? You yourself, or buy a hydrogen fuel car, or an electric scooter, or whatever. Would you do any of these things?
Yeah, I'd like something good for ecological system. I think that if the major people, for example, in any country would, for example, use electric bikes or solar panels, everyone will do the same. But one or two, it's something. It's like a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes, it's this conception should be widely used and to be in all minds of people.
Good point. It's a very good point and a sociological fact, really. Well, at least a theory, a strong theory, that in fact humanity always has, I don't know, 1 or 2% of the population try out the newest thing, adopt the newest thing, small percentage, and then it slowly everybody else starts to do it. Same thing, happened with computers and cell phones and the like. But hopefully, eventually. How about you, Ken? Would you get, or does that not make any sense at all because you live in an apartment? But I don't know.
In other class, one teacher introduced a solar wall panel or road.
Okay.
Road with covered with solar panel. So not only the roof but also the roads and sidewalks can be a solar panel.
Ah, okay.
One, kind of idea now.
I like that. Good one. But wouldn't that, okay, the problem is, the problem I have with that, the road and if the sidewalk was a solar panel, I would never be able to go in my bare feet. I would burn my feet off. Wouldn't my shoes melt?
Probably it needs to be, invented more and kind of the idea of the video, the solar panel warm up the road in the wintertime. In the wintertime, some area heavy snow accumulates, but the solar panel produce the electricity, and that electricity heat up the road and snow melt, or street light, light up the street light. That's kind of idea.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Just started.
But,
Just started.
No, you're okay. Yeah, all right. These are interesting ideas. Although, I'll tell you, coming from a very cold place where there is a lot of snow on the road, when the ice melts, the problem is when the ice melts because of the sun, and then it refreezes. It makes ridiculously dangerous situations. So unless it could keep it warm all night long, that would be creating fantastic amounts of death on the highway.
A kind of slippery, kind of
Very slippery.
melting
Yeah,
water and ice again, and gonna be slippery.
exactly. Yeah, that's right. In America, we call it black ice because you can't see it because the road is black, so you don't know you're on ice. So you try to do something and try to turn, and you don't turn. You just keep going straight. But that's what it's from. It's from the sun melting, and then in the night there's no sun. It gets cold. The blacktop gets cold. Interesting though, just cool idea. Interesting because heaven knows there's enough. What about parking lots? Making parking lots into giant solar panels. There you go.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, now we're thinking here. Okay. Hello, Obayed. How are you?
Hello, teacher. How are you? Good morning.
Good afternoon, whatever it is. Okay. Obayed, do you know what solar panels are? I can't.
I click on the link and open this website, the George and Washington University. Just and watching this picture and read some small sentence here. But I'm not. But I'm not understand more this website.
Okay.
I didn't know what you are going on.
Okay, the idea is that solar panels get energy from the sun and you can make electricity, basically. Just basically. Which, much like Azerbaijan, I'm sure in Saudi Arabia, nobody cares, even though there is a lot of sun. Who cares? You have oil, right? Who cares? What difference does it make? Yeah, okay. All right. Anybody have any last ideas about hydrogen fuel? Any last comments or ideas?
Some Japanese researchers already constructed nuclear fusion generation plant, and even American scientists is researching that. Then in the future, a nuclear fusion system is much better.
Oh, fusion. Okay. Instead of fission, fusion.
Yeah, not the fission.
So fission is taking them apart. Fusion is putting them
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
There are no radiation, so it's safety.
Yeah. Personally, I think Americans have nuclear fusion, nuclear warheads already.
Yeah, even Japan already constructed now their experiment.
Okay. Interesting. I have to research that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I posted a YouTube video about nuclear.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay, I haven't had time to look at the videos because I'm in class, but thank you. And thank you everyone for joining the class. All right. Appreciate it, and I'll see you again. It's time to go. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.